Good morning, guys. How's it going today? Hope you're doing well. Last night it rained here hard. It was had about 3 or 4 days where it was really dry and hot and humid. You know, when I say dry and humid, that's kind of a contradiction, but it was like just the plants were all dried out. Everything was gone, but it was, you know, walking around, it's like, oh. Anyway, it rained last night for about 15 minutes, just enough to wet everything. And then about an hour later, boom, flashes of light, loud banging, and it poured down. So now the garden's soaked this morning, which is great. Everybody's happy, and I don't have to water. Better for it to rain than for me to water. There's nitrogen and stuff in the rain for the plants to grow better. This afternoon I'll water the plants underneath the roof by the waterfall, because I put them under there to keep them out of the sun. So what have I come here to talk to you about today? Back in the Army days, remember I said I got this hat. This is the rank I was, warrant officer. But remember I said to you I got this hat and this shirt that every so often I'll do a story time. And maybe there's something wrong with me, but these are some of the funniest stories I thought. There's a couple all in the same category, I guess. So the first one was a friend of mine. I won't refer to him because he's still friends and I don't want him to get upset or anything, but let's just say we'll call him friend, okay? So we were both given the task to go to this place to build tents. From what I remember, this was one of the earliest stories. So what I remember was we went there and we had to set up tents. I don't know how many, like 20 tents or something, just me and him. And we finished, and it was like a summer's day in Germany, and hot and sweaty, and nowhere to shower. So we said, okay, no problem. I said to him, hey, strip off and stand in the fire bucket. And back then in the British Army, I don't know if they still have, but they had these orange or red fire buckets that just had either sand in or water in, and this thing a stirrup pump, which was like, excuse me, which was it was a pump with like a little handle on the bottom where you can stand on it to keep it submerged in the water while you pump fast. So he stood in the bucket. Well, put the pump in first. He stood in the bucket. Bearing in mind, we're in the middle of this field. Nobody's around, we're in this field. And, you know, he's getting a shower. So, standing there in his birthday suit, and I'm pumping him, right? Pumping the pump. That don't sound good, does it? Pumping him. Pumping the pump, squirting him with water. And, he's soaked, so I stopped. He soaked up, and then he said, okay, finished. And then I sprayed him off. And then we were laughing, you know, just laughing. And I still remember, well, every time I think about it, I still laugh. And then, of course, I needed a shower also. So you know, stand in the bucket with your toes curled up the edge, right? And he's pumping the stirrup pump. And so now I'm wet. I soap up, and he rinses me all off. You know, like just like you do in a shower, right? But he's standing there. But you know, you do what you have to do back in the Army days, right? And talk about laugh. We laughed every time I spoke to him about that afterwards. We laughed. And in the same category, another one was we're in adventure training in Birch's Garden. Actually, it was It's called Obersalzberg. It's a village. Obersalzberg was a village that Hitler stayed in the summertime when he was at the Eagle's Nest. So so we're in this village, and well, it's actually a camp. There's a camp. Okay, I'll start again. It was all tents. We're in tents, right? Next to the ski resort where we used to go in the winter, in Obersalzberg, okay? At the base of the Eagle's Nest. So, you know, we're supposed to be doing adventure training and things like that. It rained last night, so the mosquitoes are out bothering me this morning. So, everybody's hot and sweaty. You know, you call it the shower run. You know, truck comes, everybody jumps on the truck, and then we all go into, it was a Austrian army camp that they would let us go in to shower. So we'd go in, shower, come out, jump back on the truck, 20 minutes later back to camp up in the mountain, right? So this day the truck comes, we all get on. I said, oh, I got my towel, I forgot my you know, toothbrush, shower gel, all that, or soap, whatever. I don't think they had shower gel back then, but I forgot it. So I ran back to get it, and the truck drove off and left me. So I guess they thought everybody's on the truck, nobody's there, he left. So I thought, oh, that's great, now how do I shower? Well, I knew there was a stream up in the mountain, so I guess a kilometer away, but up a steep hill in the woods, right? So off I go up the hill to find this stream, and I get there, and it's not just a trickly stream, it's like in places maybe a meter wide, in places less than, but the water's flowing faster. So I found this little pool, maybe like a meter around in a circle, and so t-shirt off, shorts off, straddle these two stones, and I'm splashing water all over myself, and it is freezing. You know, this is snow or a mountain stream coming up from inside the earth, and I'm hot, and this water's cold, so I'm splashing it all over myself. I got wet. I get soaked up, right? Get soaked up. What does that mean? Soap running down the legs, hits my feet, makes my feet slippery, and then I go whoop, feet in the air, big bum in the air, poosh, fall straight into this pool of water. It was absolutely freezing. I'm talking like, you know, take your breath away, freezing. So I get myself up. If somebody was watching, they must have been in stitches. You know, naked as a jaybird, and legs in the air, bum in the air. So you know, I'm trying to catch my breath. Luckily, I didn't hit my head on a rock. But so I get up, you know, get organized, finish rinsing off. But I tell you, talk about refreshing, because it's so cold. Really nice. And so dry off, clothes back on, down the hill. So it took me, I was up and back in 20 minutes. You know, they were back in about 20 minutes there, shower, 20 minutes back, probably about an hour. So I was finished. So I just laying on my bed in the tent waiting for them to come back. But that was so funny. One more for you. So one more for you. I moved. I was over there, and bugs were eating my legs. So I was wiggling a bit, sorry. So another story. You think, so the first one was about so the first story was about the fire bucket. The second story was about the tent and going up the hill, right? So you think all these years later, I'm now in Thailand, and you know, just living here, living my life. You know, I have a home with a living room, bedroom, and a bathroom. So if you need a shower, you go in the bathroom and shower, right? No problem. It's like a typical Thai shower where, you know, it's just like a bathroom, everything's tiled, and it's, I had a hot water heater too, so you could have cool or warm water, whatever you wanted. And you stand there and shower, and, you know, the water goes everywhere, but ultimately goes down the drain, right? And then you know, you have to wipe the walls and all that sort of stuff. No problem. But then what happened was a flood came, which came up to about, so I put blocks around the front door and blocks around the back door, so water wouldn't come in the house. So it just meant you had to get over the block wall every time you went out the house, stand in the water and walk around. When you come back, step over the wall, open the door and walk in the house. So I did that for the first year, no problem. And then, you know, the house is now sitting in water, right? And if you know anything about clay, what happens is the clay gets wet and it actually turns to like a mush, right? So that was the first year, and so the house is sitting in water for 3 weeks. And then the second year, same thing happened. Water come up, this time it come up higher. And so, think about this. Kevin's standing in the water, right? I have a little blue boat over there, with a bag of sand and cement, so sand and cement in one bag, with some, you know, the normal small Thai bricks, a bucket, and a shovel. Little brick trowel, right? So I'm putting the cement in, the sand and cement in the bucket, splashing water from what I'm stood in into the bucket, mixing it with the trowel, laying bricks. I'm laying the bricks as the water's coming up. And luckily it would stop. And it would take, mainly it came up in the night, okay, because that's when they would let the water out in the late evening or something. So in the early morning it was higher. So it had enough time to dry. So as the water came up to my new bricks, and then the next day I'm out there doing it again because I'm panicking, thinking it's going to go higher and higher. So builded the wall up on the edge and put more bricks all around the top. This can't hold. There's no way this can hold. And what happened was, it's now sitting in water. The whole house is sitting in water again. And for 3 weeks, then what happens? So the house started settling. Luckily it settled on the roadside and not on the riverside. Because you think it's going to, if it settles on the riverside, there's a chance the whole house could slide into the river, right? But it settled on the roadside, which meant when you shower, the water no longer goes into the drain. It goes back into the house, or tries to come into the house. But what they do in Thai bathrooms, the bathroom is like 2 inches lower than the rest of the house. So any water that goes in, that, you know, from the house or from the shower, bathroom area, all goes to the bathroom. You know, you can squeegee it into the bathroom. Excuse me. You can squeegee it into the bathroom, and then it'll make its way over to the drain and go out, right? But what happened is the house settled on the roadside, which meant when I showered, the water wouldn't go down the drain. It wants to go into the house. So I can't shower in there anymore. I guess what I could do is thinking of different ideas over time, is to, I have to take the toilet out and move everything out the bathroom, which is take the shower wall off. I got one of those glass shower walls in there. Take that off and take the toilet out and relay the floor so it tilts again, you know, like maybe just from halfway. and then somehow put tiles on it so that you don't trip over it in the night, right? On the way to the pot, and then the water would go downhill again. Well, I kept thinking, should I or shouldn't I, should I or shouldn't I? And I just left it in the end. And now here's the funny part, okay? You ready? Let me show you something. So this is the wall outside the house, right? And so this is a new wall outside the door, okay? This is a new one. What happened was the old one, the bottom concrete there was poor quality, and somehow water was coming in from that bottom corner. So even though this was bricked up, water was leaking in. So I tore all that step out, completely tore it all out, dug down deeper, and then reconcreted it with this step here, sealed everything underneath so the water can't get in again. And then Piton came to do some work on, he was building the workshop, so I asked him to build this while he was here. They get paid by the day, so not by the job, so don't worry. So I started it, and then he finished. I started the block wall, and then he finished it, but then he skimmed it. You can see they skim it with cement, right? So the idea is, if it floods, you just put blocks across that gap all the way up to the top, right? And that holds the water back. So what I do is I put that old chair closer to the wall. You walk around in the water, step on top of that, over the wall and in here, and then you go in the house. That door's nasty, isn't it? I've been tidying it up, getting it to fit better after the house settled, and sanding it and cleaning it. So now I've got to get some paint and repaint it. So that's what happened. And then so if you look at the wall, this is nasty because you see the color of it is a bit nasty. That's because of the flood. So I got to repaint the house now. But the difference in height between this corner at the front of the house and at the back is about 7 inches. So the house, right, settled into went down in this corner. So the bathroom is at the highest point, which is on the other side of the house, at the opposite end of this. So if you stand in the living room, you can feel that the house isn't level. The AC, you can see the AC is wrong too, in relation to the ceiling. Basically impossible to shower. So from this end, from this corner to the shower, at the other end of the house, diagonally across, the hole for the shower is technically about 5 or 6 inches higher than this corner. So I can't shower in there. I thought about, I have another idea, and that is to build like a similar wall like this here, brick wall, just around the shower area rather than the whole shower floor, the whole bathroom floor. And then so maybe like just big enough for a shower, right, for myself. So maybe come up to the side of the toilet, out and around, and then the shower head can face in. But we also put cement on the floor so that the water comes, goes back to the drain. And then either paint it with some waterproof paint, and then seal it, and then I can shower again. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. But as I said to you the other day, sometimes you just get this, you can't get motivated. I thought it was like depression or something, but I mentioned briefly about like PTSD from healing from childhood and stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but I got into this where I didn't feel like doing anything for a long time, and I'm feeling better now. So I think I'm going to get on and build that. I'll build that shower, and then it can either just paint it or tile it. I think paint it on the outside, paint the whole thing, and then put tiles on the inside, just for like decoration. And then I think that'll be smart. So how do I shower in the meantime? No laughing. Here's my shower. So I come out here at night. I usually try to come out around, in the daytime I just have shorts on and then rinse off and then go around the back. I have a towel hanging on the clothesline around the back, and I can dry myself, and there's a little room there. Put some clean shorts on, go in the house and cool down. But at night, just after dusk, I'll come out here, and I had to build myself a shower. So the water comes down and this goes around into the plants. I got my shower gel there and my little how to keep my shower clean. Huh? Old broom to get the leaves off so I don't have leaves stuck all over me. A little bit nasty now. I think it needs cleaning and repainting. Huh? But it's out here in the elements, and this is where I shower every day. The things you do in Thailand, huh? What do you think? The things you do in Thailand. There's nothing I can do about it. The house settled. I can't use my shower, so I had to build myself something. It was so funny. After the first year, after the second flood, I couldn't shower anymore. I thought, clean the bathroom all up and wash the floors and everything will be okay. As soon as I tried to shower, the bathroom filled up and it wouldn't go down the drain. So I got a squeegee and I kept having to push it back, and I got old fast. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. I built a shower out here, and John's going, you can't do that. I says, watch me. Hey, Army. So I said, watch me. So I built this, and I've been using this for probably 3 or 4 years, every day, every night. So that's come over here so we can see each other again. Yeah, I use that every single day. Funny stories, huh? I think, I'm going to be 69 in a few months, and then you think, here you are in Thailand, living the high life, right? But you know what I did? The good thing is, I bought this house, how long ago now? I've been here how long? I'm in my 14th year now, just in the 14th year. I arrived on August 12th, and today's August 21 or 22. I think, yeah, 22 today. So I've been in Thailand 13 years and 10 days today, I guess, about that. Yeah, 10 days. And but I bought this place, and I had some savings, and I bought this property with this house, and the house was completely ruined. But I had an apartment, so I'd come here every day for like 3 months, and I worked on the inside, and there was a gang of guys here. They built my original workshop, so I had places to store stuff, and I worked inside building cabinets and painting and fixing and changing the windows. I did all that, and then just cleaning it, because it was in the mega flood. And I think when's the mega flood? 2010 or something? I can't remember. Before I come here, I think it was like 2010, something like that. Anyway, this house was in the mega flood, and so I'm going to show you where the house has been repainted twice in 10 years, right? Look at this, twice in 10 years, and look at it, filthy. The bottom part's filthy from the flood, the top part's filthy from lizards every day running all over it. So, so this is the door, right? And this is the window. And so up at the top of the window, here, that's where the water came to. So if you lived here, you couldn't save that. You'd have lost everything. So basically the land was destroyed and the house was destroyed, but it was flat. So don't ask me how that happened. It didn't move in the mega flood, but it moved, and it didn't move in the first year first flood I was here, but in the second flood it moved. So anyway, I got this house for an okay price. The original price was pretty high, and Jan kept doing her negotiating and got it down and down and down. And finally he said, I can't go no lower, and so I bought it cash, and so I haven't paid any rent. So the other day I was figured out how much would something like this cost to rent, and I'm guessing like I really have no idea. I'm guessing around, if you said you know, you have a whole property, you can do whatever you want, it's a whole house and garden, you know, I have the garden. I'm guessing somewhere between 10 and 20,000 baht a month. No idea really. Village, maybe closer to 10, but I did, just for fun, I did it with 20,000, so maybe half this. I times the rent by the years that I've been here, and it came out to about 2.8 million baht. So if you said somewhere between 1.4 million and 2.8 million is what I would have spent in rent. Well, I didn't pay $1 million for this place, so I think I did pretty good. So yeah, I said to Jan, I'm going to stay. I'll probably wind up staying here until it's time for me to go and go to the other side, and then whatever I do, you know, I can't, as you know, you can't buy property. So this house is in Jan's name, but if something happens to me, it's hers. Simple. I'm not worried about it. It just goes to Jan. You know, whenever there's like the mayor wants some information or something has to be done, she does it all. So, but I get to live here and potter around and do my business. So that's my stories. What do you think? Funny stories from army days, huh? Standing in a fire bucket in the middle of a field, naked as a jaybird, getting sprayed by your friend with a fire hose. I laugh at that every time I think about it. And then the river one. I've done other things like that. But it's you know, when I was a kid, we used to go to this woods, pedal our bicycles to this wood. It was in a game reserve, and so it was protected. The wildlife and the trees and everything were protected. And it was like, it was lit. You wouldn't believe where it was, that it was there if you went there. And it was like something like in Robin Hood's days. Big trees that had been established for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and nobody messed with it. And in there was a spring, and the spring brought the water to the surface, and then the surrounding areas was sandy, so it eroded the sand away, and the river was like maybe like 10 feet wide, 12 feet wide, in some places 8 to 10 feet deep, and crystal clear because it's coming from a spring. And we used to jump in that and swim, and you could see the fish. It was so clean. There's fish in there. We used to chase them swimming. Obviously never caught anything, but just as a kid having fun is amazing. I'll stop, otherwise I'll just keep on talking, telling stories. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you're still here, leave a note to say you're still here. Hope you have a wonderful day, evening. Buckets of blessings, rivers of peace, joy, and kindness. All the very best. Look after yourselves.